What's up, you guys? Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency, and in this video I'm going to break down the ultimate lead generation and acquisition funnel for your contracting business. What we're going to talk about today is I'm going to break down the 3 things that go into this acquisition funnel and how you can implement it in your company to start getting leads into your business predictably and at scale. So many contractors don't have a legitimate way to bring new strangers into their business and convert them into actual paying clients. And like I said in this video, I'm going to break it all down from start to finish so that you can get a really accurate idea of how to actually implement this process. Again, my name is Matt Thibeau. If you're new to the channel, I've been running Facebook ads and doing online marketing for contractors for 8 years now, and I've spent about $2 million in ad spend. So everything I'm going to share with you here is over the course of my career, learning and doing it for contractors. And so I'm really excited to share with you everything that we're going to talk about here today. So first thing, before we dive into these 3 things that I'm going to share with you, here's what most contractors do when they are trying to figure out how to generate new clients online, whether it's Facebook ads or something else, right? This is basically what their process looks like. They have an ad and they're running some promotion or something. And from that ad, right, they do some kind of call, or they discuss with them for something, right? They have some kind of like interaction with a customer. And then from that call, then they will, deliver some kind of estimate. Usually that estimate, I would say, is through email, and they'll just fire that estimate off. And what is the typical result from a process like this? Well, what I would say is mostly just getting ghosted and not actually closing any deals. Sound familiar? Well, if so, in this video, I'm going to break down the difference of what we do and how you can implement the same exact thing. So let's dive right into things here. So the first thing that you need to understand when it comes to building out a real client acquisition funnel is getting traffic, right? What is traffic? Well, traffic is being able to get qualified eyeballs to actually look at what it is that you're offering, right? And there are many different strategies that you can do with online advertising. You've probably heard of, Google Ads, SEO, some of these other lead sharing websites. But what I've found is the most effective platform for generating exclusive leads, doing it at an affordable rate, and being able to consistently get in front of the ideal prospects is using Facebook ads. Facebook ads, especially over the course of the last most recent years, has just become extremely effective at reaching the right type of people. And if you follow some of my other content, I show you exactly the type of Facebook ads that work really well. That's outside of the scope of this specific video. But what I'm going to break down to you is the strategy that we use on Facebook ads of how we're able to consistently generate leads for around $30 to $50 of qualified leads. People have filled out the form and said, yes, I want a quote. And so I'm going to show you our process of how we actually run the ads and structure it in a way that you may not have heard before. So let's dive right into it. So what I've realized when it comes to Facebook advertising, it's a lot like actually nature. If you've ever heard of the concept of natural selection, advertising is actually really similar, right? So let's just write down natural selection. So like I said in the beginning of this video, what most contractors will do is they'll maybe make like 1 ad or maybe 2, right? And they'll just run those ads into the ground. And oftentimes, if you get an ad that works really well, it might work for a bit, but then it will die off, right? People get tired of seeing the same ad over and over and over again. This is what most contractors do. They'll do 1 or 2 ads, run it, and then it will die, right? Cost per lead goes through the roof. You don't know what to do, etc. And then you say, oh, Facebook ads doesn't work, right? Here's what we do that we find works really well is when you start an ad campaign, you should start off with multiple ads in the beginning that all have a different type of stimulus, is what I call it. So let's say we have 6 different ads to start, right? And let's say that, ad number 1 has a specific type of ad creative, which means like imagery, and then it has specific copy, which is like the message. And maybe it has a different offer. And then ad number 2 has a slightly different image and a slightly different copy and a slightly different offer. Then ad number 3 is maybe a video, not an image. Ad number 4 has a completely different offer, et cetera, et cetera. So basically what we do in the beginning is we have 6 different ads that just have a whole bunch of different copy, offer, and creative, right? So basically what we're doing is a little bit of a spray of different offers, creatives, and messaging, right? So this is what we do. So we start off with about 6 different ads. And you're gonna run those ads in the beginning of your campaign. You launch all of these ads, right? Well, in the first, I would say week or so, it's gonna be very obvious to you of which ads are doing better and which ads aren't doing so well. Typically, I would say out of 6 ads, you're gonna get 2 ads that really pop off and they really show a lot of promise. So let's say that, ad number 2 is a winner. And then let's say that ad number 5 is a winner, right? And then number 1, 3, 4, and 6, they're all too expensive, let's say, right? So all these ones are coming in at like $80 or $100 a lead. And then 2 and 5 are coming in at like $30 a lead, right? Well, then it's very obvious that those are the winners, right? And so basically what you want to do is you want to pick like the top 2 or 3 winners of the ads that you've essentially launched, right? Now, here's what comes the part where I was talking about natural selection, right? So what we have done is we've put out multiple variants of these ads out into the marketplace, and we see that 2 and 5 have won, essentially, right? Next, what we have to do is we have to ask ourselves, what about these ads has actually won, right? Do these 2 have anything in common? Do we have any kind of hypothesis of like why they won, et cetera, et cetera? So what we're going to do is we are going to take the elements of 2 and 5 and we're going to create a whole new set of ads that model elements similar to that, right? So we are going to create multiple other ads. And we're going to do the same thing. So now these ads all have elements of 2 and 5, and we are narrowing down and basically making variants within those ads, right? And then we're going to launch these 6 different ads. And then what we're going to see is maybe because in the beginning we were doing like a bit of a spray, it is likely that amongst these ads, we're going to see a little bit more winners, right? Because they have more of the traits and qualities of the winning ads to begin with, right? So let's say that in this case, 3 is a loser and 4 is a loser, but all the rest of them are good ads, right? And they all go down to the next level. And you just keep repeating this process over and over and over again, because you can't, like, there's this myth that with Facebook ads, you can kind of just set it and forget it. It's true that sometimes you'll have an ad that will just consistently pull leads month after month after month and maybe get a little bit more expensive, but it will sustain. That means that you just hit like the perfect pain point. Everything is just working, right? But realistically, over about the course of 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see your ads start to get more expensive due to something called ad fatigue, right? And that means that people are just getting tired of seeing the same stimulus or the same kind of like ad basically over and over and over again, right? And so we want to make these small changes over time to create a pattern interrupt so people kind of see a different form of that ad and it sparks the interest again. So that is the process of gaining traffic and consistently generating leads through Facebook ads, is this process of natural selection, of consistently iterating these ads over and over and over again. And this should be something done, like I said, every 3 weeks or so. You should be consistently getting new content and then, feeding it to your marketing company, or if you're doing the ads, then you should be doing this process as well. And this is how you can consistently keep the cost per lead at a range of around $30 to $50, which in my opinion is what is kind of the ideal range. Obviously you can do better than that, fantastic, but for lead forms on Facebook, that's typically what you're looking at for a cost per lead, right? So that is the traffic portion. And again, if you have questions about like what does my ad need to look like or whatever. I have another video on my channel. It's called the top 3 ad creatives, so you can watch that, and that'll give you a lot more insight into like specifically what the ad should look like. So you can take a look at that. I definitely recommend that. So that was the first step, is traffic, right? The second step is appointment setting. Yo, I am losing my marker here right now. Appointment setting. So with appointment setting, this is where I would say a lot of contractors struggle. This is the process of where, okay, you've gotten a lead and that lead has come in, but now the problem is that like a lot of contractors don't really know how to actually get that person on the phone or actually how to quickly qualify them. Sometimes in the past, we've seen contractors who are doing advertising and someone reaches out and says, oh, I'd like to get a quote, and messages them, and they'll just be like, here's my number, and just drop their number and be like, give me a call. That is not appointment setting, because you're counting on the person to reach out to you, right? So I'm going to give you some really quick tips on what you can do for appointment setting once you have all these leads coming through to ensure that you're able to deliver them an estimate on time. So number 1, for appointment setting, I'm going to try and switch markers here. For appointment setting is you want to actually have an appointment setter, right? So an appointment setter, it could be you, it could be someone you hire, but their job is to call that lead when it comes in through Facebook, to call them as fast as possible, right? The reason you want to call them as fast as possible is because they may be talking to some other contractors. We don't know the situation. We want to make sure that as soon as they request for that estimate or quote, that you reach out to them and you say, hey, I got your request, like, can we talk, type thing. So calling as fast as possible, this is going to help you if you have a setter in place, right? A simple appointment setter will help you call faster. It'll help you follow up, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to get more out of the leads that you're generating, right? Some quick tips for you as well is that oftentimes, just going back to like what a lot of contractors do that like you shouldn't be doing, is when you get a lead and then you call that lead to book the appointment, oftentimes contractors will give up literally after the first call. So they'll call the lead, oh, I didn't get a pickup, these leads suck. For many of you who are like the virgins to client acquisition using Facebook ads, this might sound like a bit of a shocker to you, but you need to call those leads several times. Calling them once is not sufficient. What we recommend to do is initially doing like a double dial. So you call that lead. If they don't answer, call them again. Oftentimes people will have some kind of like spam filter on their phone, or many times like in today's day and age, people just don't answer phone calls on the first shot. So if you just hang up and call again, they're about 50% more likely to pick up the phone and actually talk to you. If they still don't answer after that call, then you should be texting them and you should email them as well and leave a voicemail, right? And so for some of you, like I said, this might seem like a lot of contact. And then for others of you who are used to client acquisition, this is like, I'm kind of like boring you because this is stuff you already know, right? But for effective appointment setting for follow-up, you need to consistently follow up with these people, right? Now, sometimes when I say this, contractors will be like, oh, like it sounds like these people then just aren't interested in actually talking to me, et cetera, et cetera. No, what it is that you're probably used to just dealing mostly with referrals, and the people now that you're talking to are maybe talking to another company, maybe they've gone on vacation, people are busy. It's up to you to be able to basically bring them through your sales process to show them good service and reach out to them and give them that estimate that they require, right? So that's something I just want to break as a belief there. You're going to get so many more deals when you actually start taking appointment setting seriously. The next thing too for appointment setting that's super important to have is a CRM. Now, again, for some of you, this is like super obvious, and for others, maybe you're starting out, you don't have a CRM in place. A CRM is really important because it's all the leads that you're going to be generating. It's going to be a way for you to organize those leads. A super popular CRM is something like Jobber. Many of you are probably using that, right? In our agency, all of our clients, they get access to something called Go High Level. And basically, what this allows you to do is all of the leads that we're generating are actually going into this system. And at each level in this system, it actually organizes your leads at which stage they're in the pipeline, right? So for example, you need to be very organized in your pipeline of where leads are at, right? So let's say that you have one section for like requested an estimate, right? So like requested quote. Then maybe you'll have like another section that says like quote delivered. And then you'll have another section that's like, job closed. And then you'll have another section that's like follow up, et cetera, right? So you need to be super organized in your CRM of how you're managing these leads, because when you start getting a lot of lead flow, it's going to be harder for you to keep track of all of that. And you want your appointment setter, whether it's you or someone else, to be able to keep track of all of these leads. Now, something that's super cool about having a CRM like High Level, what we use, is that you can have some automations in it to be able to follow up with people or to automatically text leads as they come in. That's going to help your appointment setting process a lot, right? The last thing too is that like a lot of contractors, when they're trying to do some kind of advertising and client acquisition using Facebook ads or something similar, is they don't really have any actual nurturing or follow-up system in place, right? Like, so for example, one contractor we were talking to the other day, I asked him, I said, so all the leads that you generate from your advertising, if they don't move forward or something, like what do you do with those? And he's like, oh, we just never contact them again. I was like, really? Do you even have like a CRM or anything to keep track of them? He's like, no, like we just lose that information. You're basically like pissing money down the drain basically, right? When you're doing that. Every single lead that you generate through advertising, they should go in your system into follow-up, and they should be receiving emails, and they should be receiving texts via some kind of automation, marketing automation. The emails and text, they don't need to necessarily be something like salesy, but they should be at least a bi-weekly contact of just being like, here's some, 5 tips to XYZ, having a better curve appeal, or, XYZ, just giving them helpful information so that people are warming up to you, right? So over time, maybe they weren't able to move forward with you, or maybe you weren't able to deliver them an estimate properly, but you want to put them into your nurturing sequence, again, whether that's emails or texts, so that you can warm them up so that when they are ready, they will reach out back to you and be able to get a quote and hopefully move forward from there, right? So you want to have a really strong nurturing process built into your appointment setting system, so all of the leads that you're generating from your marketing are being nurtured beyond just the initial call and stuff like that, right? All right, this brings me to the last point in the acquisition process, right? Is the estimating part of all this. So this goes slightly beyond like what our company handles, right? We focus on the lead generation, then we help you with the appointment setting part, which we just talked about. But all of that is useless if you don't have a proper estimating process, because you're going to have a bunch of appointments, but then you're not going to be able to close any of those, right? And so I just wanted to address some really simple things that you could do to increase your close rate from these estimates that you're putting out, right? So the number one mistake that a lot of contractors will make when they're doing advertising is they start giving email estimates, right? The reason they're doing this is because typically they'll be like, well, I don't want to drive all over the city or something for all of these quotes, and so I'm just going to email these estimates over to save time. It sounds like it makes a lot of sense, but in reality, it's detrimental to your success. What you want to do instead is you want to get in front of the person, like in person, sit at the kitchen table and actually show them the number. And B, you want to actually ask for the order in front of them and handle objections. This is something that I think a lot of contractors are afraid of because they don't want the rejection, and 2, they're afraid of like really investing into that deal. But what this is going to do for you is it's going to allow you to increase your close rate because you can handle objections, you're building a relationship. Sales is based off of a relationship, right? And a lot of contractors just think like, oh, like I just gave this person an estimate and they ghosted me, like I guess they're not serious. No, dude, it's because the estimate you sent them is $30,000. They have no idea who you are and they're afraid, right? And that is going to require you doing the extra legwork to be able to meet with them at the kitchen table and actually close the deal. You may have heard stuff like, all this automation software, like I was just talking about with like CRMs and Jobber and stuff that can deliver the estimate and people can pay through that. Like, for the most part, most people aren't going to pay an estimate through an automated email that's $30,000. They want to actually talk to someone on the phone at least and like get the specifics of what they're spending their money on, right? And so the last thing is just you need to be really willing to invest in people and take your estimating process seriously. Secondly, with your estimating process, so we talked about doing it in person, but secondly is you want to do it fast, because some contractors just take way too long to deliver estimates, and by the time that they're ready, the person has already moved forward with someone else. So if you can get your estimating process down to the point where you can deliver in-person estimates and same-day estimates, that is going to boost your closing rate from these leads coming from Facebook or wherever, and that is going to help you scale this type of campaign. So I personally recommend doing same-day estimates if you can. If you can't do that, maybe you do something really intricate, you're doing like custom remodels, etc., then try and like close the gap on that. Try and create some kind of spreadsheet or system that can spit out a general idea or a number just so you can get that much faster. If you're doing other forms of services, I'm pretty confident that you can get it to a same-day estimate, and that's definitely going to help you from a sales side so you can start getting some more deals through the door. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comment below. And if you're interested in getting a team like ours to help you grow your contracting business, you can click the link below and book a call with my team. I'd be happy to speak with you. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.